Is something missing? Do you feel stuck or long for more emotional intimacy with your partner? You're not alone. There is nothing wrong with you. This is how licensed couple therapist and founding member of the Honor Rating Club, Colette Fehr, draws you into her world if you join her Substack, because she wants to start a conversation about relationships, not only romantic ones, but into leaning into those messy conversations you might at some point have to be part of. We're feeling rejection, abandonment, pushing someone away. And in these situations, we often don't say the things we need to say or avoid important conversations. So Colette teaches us how to manage conflict constructively so it doesn't feel like a threat. And it fits so perfectly to a note I found. So this is Colette. Here you can see her with The Cost of Quiet, which just launched. How to have the hard conversations that create secure, lasting love. And I'm going to tell you a bit more about this event because it's so exciting. And I'm going to share a bit more about how Colette went really like from zero to someone who has now about 5,000 subscribers on her list and is now launching her book with Penguin Random House, one of the biggest publishers in the world. So this one here from Fabio: "Dear me, in 6 months, I will make you fucking proud." And this is exactly what Colette shared in one of our podcasts from the Honor Writing Club show, where she said exactly this. She said that she would have manifested the shit out of it to get to the point where she is now, okay? And she had to tell her over and over and over and over again in the last couple of months while building an audience from scratch, not only in Substack with Secrets from a Therapist, but also on other platforms to hype up herself. She had to tell this herself over and over again, because if Colette wouldn't have done it, no one would have done it for her. And that's what she knew. So in the podcast interview, she said, "I manifested the shit out of it to get it all. To get a book deal with Penguin Random House, a TEDx talk, and a launch event 3 years after writing her debut book, which she remember forever." And what she shared about this night was, "This is The Cost of Quiet," now available via Penguin Random House or on Amazon. And that was this event here we talked about in one of our coaching sessions. Join us for a VIP book launch event, The Cost of Quiet. And he was at Mercedes-Benz of Orlando in Maitland in Florida. And this was happening in January, the Cost of Quiet VIP launch event. And after the event, here you can see this, welcome to The Cost of Quiet, Colette shared that it was a night I'll never forget. And at the same time, it's an idea you can also use for your own book launch, I think. This is why I'm sharing this today. No matter how small or big you are, I want to share a bit more about the launch of The Cost of Quiet, because, you know, the Penguin Random House deal is a big one. And of course, Colette now wants to make this a successful launch. So she invited people to join her for a paid VIP book launch. This was the event page via Eventbrite. So she invited people to join this and they had to pay for it, which I think is also smart. And you could sign up via the service ticketing platform Eventbrite. And Colette announced this via her website, email, and promoted it by putting the link in the show notes of multiple podcasts she was a guest as part of her pre-launch runway, which was all about getting booked in up to 50 podcasts. This is what she told me, 50 podcasts. So it was really like a podcast strategy because she has also her own podcast. But it wasn't only an event for Colette. She told me a few weeks back it would also be a live podcast event. So they also live streamed a podcast. And this event was sold out. You can see this here. It was with over 100 people coming. And it worked. The event at Mercedes-Benz of Orlando and Maitland, Florida was sold out. More than 100 people were coming and celebrating her book baby. And if you're now saying, "Christina, she got a book deal with Penguin, that's huge. Of course, people snag their spots, you know." I have to tell you, Colette, as a licensed marriage and family therapist and nationally certified counselor, really still is one of the small guys that built her way up to the top. So I know Colette from when she really started from rock bottom, from zero. When I told her I would feature her in a video, she was like, and then feature her in a post. She also said, yeah, this is amazing. When she started, she didn't have an audience. She has her thriving private practice in Florida, working there long hours, and she simply had a dream. And this dream took her where she is now. Okay. So it's really about this idea of going from like feeling invisible to sharing your voice. This is what she shared on TEDx stage. And this is also what she's sharing in her book. Okay. So maybe you're like a people pleaser. Maybe you're someone going through a great divorce. Maybe you're someone struggling with your relationship. Then Colette's book is definitely for you. Okay. Because you can like marry yourself. This is something that Colette also did now. She's in her 50s. And with the cost of quiet, she shared here with me that it felt as if I would like, it as if this would be like a wedding to myself. So this is what Colette told me. And if you want to marry yourself and say yes, then we hope that this can inspire you here. And marrying yourself, this can mean that you start writing your book. This can mean that you publish your book as an indie publisher. This can mean that you're searching for someone who would publish it, someone like Penguin Random House. Or this could also mean that you say, hey, Christina, I've written this book already. I want to create like a pre-launch runway. I want to create a launch runway or an event. So this might inspire you here. And when she said like, I'm like getting married to me, yeah, she was happy, not getting a nervous breakdown, and also for not to Botox her forehead, because then she could perform on stage together with these people she brought there to the event, who care deeply about connection, honesty, and emotional safety. And they helped create a meaningful space there. There were, for instance, Daniel, Thomas, Laura, her co-host for the licensed therapist, podcast Insights from the Couch, Charlotte and Keisha. They were part of the event, and they were all like in one room with her. Colette chat, for those who joined us, thank you for being in the room. Thank you for leaning in. Thank you for helping create something special. Even if you weren't there, I wanted to share a piece of what was created. The energy was grounded, open, incredibly moving, a space where people felt safe to reflect, listen, and lean into what truly matters. I'm deeply thankful to our guest speakers who brought so much wisdom, compassion, and heart to the conversation, and to our sponsors whose belief in this work made the event possible. Thank you for helping bring this vision to life. And if we're talking about the sponsors that were like Guardian Recovery, Green Family Law, as she believed she could, Hi Hello Labs, Bradshaw and Associates of Baldwin Park, and so on and so on. And these were like the speakers on stage, which I think is amazing. And if we're talking about like promoting, so Colette is definitely someone who says, Christina, I don't want to sound salesy. I don't want to hype up myself. But of course, at some point, she learned that she somehow had to be like everything, like a writer, an author, a marketer, and also someone who like is doing like all the social media stuff. And this is Colette's Instagram promo style and info when the event was sold out. And a huge heartful thank you to our sponsors, la la la, your belief in the message and your support made this entire evening, and so on. So this is like the style, how she like launched it, how she created this buzz around the launch. Someone was saying after the event, you killed it tonight. It was so good. Amazing partners up there with you on stage. So the feedback from the audience was amazing. And Colette, she felt stressed, but was so happy everything went well. And of course, she needed the cost of quiet shot with her family later. And yeah, I think this is the best then, celebrating with the family and attend such a book launch event. Because, with Colette, she will soon also talk, for instance, here, Oxford Exchange. She's doing so many other stuff here, for instance, with Ellen Scher. She did something in January where they had a live stream on Substack. So there are lots of things coming here for her. And what I love most is that she also like dedicated the book to her daughters. And The book is for them, Charlotte and Karen. May you never let your voice be silenced. And talking about never let your voice be silenced, this is Colette's Substack. You can see the banner here, the cost of quiet, of course, we're showing. Then we have a profile picture. This is, of course, Colette's, super fresh, super crisp, and yeah, you would definitely join and want to subscribe to her. Then here we have the short bio: couples therapist, author, TEDx speaker, podcast host, and proud mama of 2 beautiful grown-up daughters. Again, TEDx speaker, this is something that happened last year. Of course, she always has been like this couple therapist. Now she's also the author. So sometimes, just within 365 days, your whole life can change. Then here you can see the Substack notes feed. You can see here the cost of quiet was featured by Tamron Hall, which is incredible. You can see her here sharing pictures from the show. And you can really follow her here and see, have this behind the scenes view. If you want to know about the Oxford Exchange in Tampa, this was happening already. For Valentine's, she had this one here, this promo, Happy Valentine's Day. You learn here about book signing for the cost of quiet, getting to read excerpts, sign people's books, hug people, and really get into conversation about the concepts, why we avoid the hard conversations, what it takes to find your voice in a relationship, and how to handle it when you don't feel heard. Felt like the mission of all this work finally coming to fruition, okay? Then we have here this again. Then this is like her finding her style on Substack Notes, this internal social media network by Substack. Maturity is staying present when it would be easier to disappear. So I think she's now picking stuff from her book. She's now, on her book promo tour, and here, for instance, you've dreamed of being an author since you were 5, and now your book is on the shelf at a New York City Barnes and Noble, which is incredible. So there you can see Colette, and this is amazing what you can do then, always giving a heart and then restack it, because this is so cool. And there you can see her with Alan Scher, another psychotherapist from Florida. And here she's really, really smart with all of this. So whenever she is on the media now, top tier media, she's sharing this on Substack, photos, and she's really building like this flywheel. Here, for instance, she shared my post that I was writing about her. And if you would like to learn more about the event, you can also click here and then learn more.
I feel like this is my wedding to myself. I'm like getting married to me.
Wedding to myself.
Okay, so we're gonna kick it off. So
Everything.
So this is really incredible. And if we're gonna go now to her Secrets from a Therapist, this is the newsletter that she created. She was thinking about the word mark, and then she came up with Secrets from a Therapist, which I think is pretty awesome, because it is their therapist as her profession. And then we have secrets, like these secrets that the truth is all this, what we're always seeing in the headlines. This is something that Colette definitely can share. And so it's Secrets from a Therapist. You're really, really gonna get behind the scenes and learn the secrets. And here she's sharing about nearly 20 years ago, I was going through a divorce after years of feeling lonely and disconnected from my partner, okay? What it means to go through this, and then here being healthy and happy in, I think this looks like Italy or so. And so this is about, and here you can see all the stories she's sharing about overexposed, becoming the mother we all needed, quiet is not harmless, a memory from Hawaii, story you tell yourself in conflict behind the highlight reel. So again, this is what I love about Colette most. So she's really creating the hype around herself. And this is something that you can do when you're an indie publisher, as well as if you're maybe getting published with a bigger publisher, and your marketing budget is very, very small, or you have zero marketing budget, as I hear from many. And so Colette really started from rock bottom, and this was last year. And now she is at more than or about 5,000 subscribers, which is cool. Most of them are coming via Substack. Most of them are coming via Substack Notes, which is incredible. So she's really building this. And with every media outlet she's now getting covered by, or with every media presence she has, she's always linking back to her newsletter and of course her book. And with the book, she's also linking back to the newsletter. So everyone can then get the behind the scenes. Colette was also asking, oh, you know, Christina, I don't know who would be like interested in this and that. Well, the best thing really is if you are practice in public, as she did, like she started on Substack with, you know what, I'm gonna get published by Penguin Random House. This is how we met. And I was like, wow, you know, how did she get to this point, you know, go from invisible talking to the void to becoming a published author with one of the biggest publishers in the world. And this is exactly what she's playing with now. So she's going with the behind the scenes, like this behind the highlight reel thing, the parts of the launch you don't see. So she's inspiring other authors and also like inspiring others 50 plus, 40 plus, going through a great divorce, experiencing loss, experiencing that the relationship isn't working so well anymore, giving them hope and really, really helping them. Okay. So I also hope that this helped you, this behind the scenes, what's going on there with Colette Fehr. Check out her book, The Cost of Quiet, of course, Barnes & Nobles, Penguin Random House, on Amazon, wherever you want to shop it, want to get it, want to buy it. And it's really proof that you can build your newsletter from rock bottom to about 5,000 subscribers within a year. And if you really start with like 0, then you get to the TEDx talk, because you get, the recommendation was to get on a TEDx stage, got rejected thousands of times until she got to this point, got rejected thousands of times to get a book deal. And now she's here on stage talking in front of the camera about the things that matter most for her, and about the real cost of staying silent, and about estrangement, about repair and stuff. So many important topics we need to talk more about. And this is what Colette is doing now. So if you also say, Christina, I would love to make a bigger impact in this world, I hope Colette could inspire you. And if you're going to say, oh, I would love to learn so much more, then click the bell icon, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the Online Writing Club, onlinewritingclub.com, where Colette is also a member from, and you can become a Beyond member. And then I can coach you and help you one-on-one and kickstart your newsletter, no matter how small or how big you are, no matter what your goal is. We gonna reach it together if you are a go-getter. And I see like those people who really want to take action, these are the ones, and they know they have a vision. They have a vision as Colette does, and who like manifest that way. These are the ones who really succeed. And I want you to succeed as well in 2026. So I hope this event could inspire you, and learning more about the pre-launch and the launch. And if you have any questions, then drop them in the chat. Colette is super happy to hear from you. See you in the next video. Bye-bye, my friend.